Wendy Shaw with Realty One. Thanks so much for coming to our channel. And the subject today that I want to cover with you is our buyer advisory. This is a form that was generated by the Arizona Association of Realtors. And its basic purpose, I want to just read to you right off the document since they say it best. This advisory is designed to make the purchase of real property as smooth as possible. So if you're a buyer and you're buying, this is a document you want to take a look at. So if you go to our No Hassle Listing website, go to the section Buying a Home on our website, and under that you'll see one of the options is Buyer Advisory. And the reason I say go to the website to look at this is because there are live links. Obviously, we can email you a PDF, I can print one out for you, but there are live links in this document that will take you on other research projects. Basically, this is a document telling you all the research and due diligence you should probably consider doing if you're going to buy in the greater Phoenix area. So it says some of the more common issues that a buyer may decide to investigate or verify concerning a property or purchase are summarized in this advisory, and that's correct. They've actually broken this document down into 5 sections, so I want to quickly just go over what these sections are and then you can look at them for yourself. Number 1, as far as the 5 sections, well, first let me back up a moment. I will tell you most states do not provide this to their consumers. So this is something that is really valuable and I think very, very helpful. There are a few states who do it. California has a buyer advisory as well. This is something to really assist buyers in what's important to them. So don't skip this great tool. Okay, section number 1. What does section number 1 cover? It has 19 different bullet points or subjects and links that you can go investigate. Examples, the first section covers common documents a buyer should review. This is just basically telling you here are 19 different documents that can really be something you should be reviewing probably before you go under contract. So some examples, the seller property disclosure statement. And that is a document that the seller completes on all the history of the property and what their knowledge of the property is. Very important to review. HOA documents, because homeowners associations have restrictions on sometimes pets, the number, the weight, has restrictions on the cars, whether you can park in driveways, whether you must be in the garage, the size of the vehicles. There's a lot of restrictions that you're going to want to know before you purchase. Another example, professional inspection report. We strongly recommend all buyers get a professional property inspection. So this is a good generalized inspection of the property, telling you what defaults or defects that the property may have that the seller themselves may not be aware of. So while we want to get the seller's input from the seller disclosure of what their knowledge is, we also want to get an independent third party who is educated and able to investigate the property as a neutral third person. They may have more knowledge. For instance, I don't go up on my roof where my air conditioning unit is, the inspector will. So they may be able to capture data, most likely that the homeowner can't provide to you. So you want to make sure you do both, but again, there's 19 documents. I won't bore you with all of them. You can take a look. Section number 2 is called Common Physical Conditions in the Property a Buyer Should Investigate. This is telling you different condition issues that could be of concern to you. For instance, things like the square footage, because the seller is only representing the knowledge they have. By the time you get an appraisal, because remember the appraiser, if you're financing a property, of course if you're not, then you won't be having most likely an appraiser involved. But if an appraiser is involved, they will do a schematic and determine the square footage. The problem is in our contract, by the time the appraisal is done and the square footage is determined, it's much too late at that point. You're through your due diligence period. So this is something you want to be able to get educated on and do in advance. Death and felonies on the property, not to be morbid, but in the state of Arizona, we are not required as real estate agents, nor are sellers required to report murders, deaths, or felonies that occurred on the property. Interestingly enough, if they're in the neighborhood, they need to be reported, but not in the property itself. Now, we can't lie about it, so if you directly ask an agent or ask the seller, has there been a murder or a suicide or some death in this property, They can refuse to answer the question, but they cannot lie about the question. I think that's different than a number of states, so it's important that you be aware of that. Insurance claims can be tremendously important. That's another condition that should be investigated, because if the seller themselves have had a number of claims on that property, it could affect your ability to get insurance or the rate that you pay, even if you've had an immaculate insurance record yourself. So those are some documents in 3, or conditions that they are recommending you investigate. Section 3, conditions affecting the area surrounding the property that the buyer should investigate. This lists 11 things that should be investigated. And examples: crime statistics, sex offenders, military and public airports. What is the airplane issue going to be as far as noise? Schools, of course, very, very important. I think most parents do research on that, but it may not occur to you to research some of these other areas. Section 4 suggests different methods of getting information about a property. For instance, driving around the neighborhood and talking to neighbors are suggestions made in this advisory, which is an excellent advice. And then the section number 5 is resources, just telling you additional information about other documents or data that is available to you that may not have fallen in these first 4 categories. So this document is a great document. I've got one printed out here. It's 13 pages long. However, as I said, it is much better to go and get it live. And by the way, going to our website, there is no need, you do not need to put in contact data. We're not trying to harass you or bug you. We want you to have this information no matter when, where, or how you buy. So that's our advice. Take a look at the buyer advisory. Thank you so much for watching.